Today I will presenting the introduction of this segment, which is during the early of year 2020, the pandemic that was originated from China was coming to Malaysia. At first, the netizen of Malaysia was taking this issue lightly until the first case was confirmed in Malaysia. This pandemic was affecting all around the world, including Malaysia, especially the students in IIUM. Right. We, the group of five, was assigned to do the survey to understand how the student will consume news and how consuming news about pandemic impacts their well-being, limiting the news they consume about the pandemic, also the importance of COVID information, and also the obstacle in seeking the information of COVID itself. Alright, the student will experience the personal benefit from reflecting and sharing their experience from this unique and challenging period. They also take advantage of doing part-time job inside the IIM while doing the online classes. However, the most important thing is how they will cope the current situation with the accuracy of the news, whether it should be legit and verified by the right authority, because the wrong and false information might panic the student itself. Thus, it is best that we stay calm and follow the SOP that has been disseminated by the Ministry of Health and the university itself. Therefore, I will pass the next presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Ayubi Vitan. I would like to present and describe regarding our survey that have been conducted within 6 days from 15 until 21st November 2020. We have collected approximately 63 respondents from 50% as expected respondents that we need. Our respondents are actually from student from different kuliah, different year of study and different nationality in IUM. So we conducted the survey for IUM student just because to know every point of view based on IUM student regarding COVID-19. Our survey consists of 7 parts and 14 questions in overall survey that we conduct. The general point of question from our survey is about the respondent in detail. Talking about social media that student using to know latest update COVID-19 and the frequency of student to know about the COVID-19. So then the news that they consume that effect on their well-being in daily. So how they know the source of information and what is important of COVID-19 information during pandemic that they saw every day. So we want to know about the obstacle that they face on seeking COVID-19 information, such as spread of false information or data, spread rumors that we have to avoid to receive it. And lastly, we want to know about the anxiety that they face during pandemic COVID-19. Okay, this is my part. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Maya Muhammad Qasim Jandali, and for this video, I would like to present for you few of our respondents that we got from our survey that we conducted in IIUM. Firstly, regarding our demographic information, most of our respondents were from IRKHS Kuliah, and around 52% of our respondents were on their third year, while 20% are on their second year, and the rest are first year and fourth year. For gender, we managed to collect around 78% of female respondents, while the rest are male. The most dominant country that was in our respondent was Malaysia, and we had few from India, Syria, Cambodia, and China. Regarding the medical history, most of our respondents, they did not have any medical history before. while we had 3.2% had breathing difficulty disease. Now we move to the news consumption during the COVID-19 pandemic. We asked our respondents on how they collect their news. The highest percentage were recorded for news websites and applications as well as Instagram, where they recorded around 50%, while Twitter and Facebook recorded the second highest percentage for collecting news. That's all for me. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Humaira binti Mali. As for my part, I'll be talking about consuming news before and during COVID-19. So as you can see in this graph, most of our respondents had changed their way of consuming news during the COVID-19 pandemic. It can be shown that only 22.2% of the respondents did not change their way of consuming news, while another 77.8% of the respondents changed their way. Moving on to my next point, I want to talk about how the news consumptions changed during the pandemic. So, the majority of the respondents strongly agree that they want to know more about COVID-19 and they read more news on COVID-19. Most of the respondents also agree that they check on the news about COVID-19 and they agree that they frequently read news about COVID-19 during the day, but they slightly agree that they frequently read news about COVID-19 during the night. The students also strongly agree that their understanding of this pandemic has increased. This clearly shows that the news is helping them to understand this pandemic better. All of the students agree that their news consumption has changed during the pandemic compared to before. In fact, most of them agree that they listen more to the press conference by the Director General of the Ministry of Health because of this pandemic. They also slightly agree that they want primetime news more often than before, and they search for more updates on the official web page of MOH. So this can be seen that because of this pandemic, the students are actually looking out for the news. Before the pandemic, they don't actually, frequently visit the websites of KKM. So moving on to my next point, I want to talk about the news consumption and the well-being. So as you can see in the graph, the majority of the students agree that they like to be kept informed about COVID-19 so that they will feel in control. They also slightly agree that checking the news too often makes them feel anxious or upset. However, most of the students disagree that they limit themselves from watching COVID-19 news on mass media such as television, radio, newspaper, news, and websites. Even though they felt anxious, they will still watch the news. They also disagree that they limit themselves from watching COVID-19 news on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They also disagree that setting limits on news consumptions helps to reduce the feeling of stress, anxious, depressed, and overwhelmed. They think that even though they are feeling all the things, they think that they still have the need to use the social media. The students actually agree that they feel disturbed by the spread of COVID-19, and they strongly agree that they become scared that COVID-19 might affect their relatives and also their friends. The majority of the participants do not actually keep to themselves and become lonely people. Most of them agree that they lack exercise and become unhealthy, and they also tend to resort to overeating. It can be seen that the students are actually afraid of the COVID-19 pandemic, but they don't actually so afraid of the effects of COVID-19, such as overeating, which is like mental health or this physical health. And I think like the students is actually adapting with COVID-19, but not necessarily in a positive way, because there is some bad effects. As you can see in the graph, they feel anxious, they feel stressed, but they don't actually limit themselves from using it. So moving on to my next point, I want to talk about how the students think this COVID-19 is important to them. So the students think that the information about COVID-19 is very important to them. Most of the respondents took measures to protect themselves and their families from COVID-19 infection, as they think it is very crucial for them. They also think that having the right ways to maintain physical activity and having effective ways to talk to their family and friends during the COVID-19 outbreak are very important. Half of the respondents think it is important to protect themselves and their family from excessive anxiety or fear may associate with the COVID-19 outbreak. They also will take proper actions if their family or themselves got infected with COVID-19. And they also think it is very important for them to have a proper way of doing self-quarantine in case it has been mandated to them or their family members. The majority of the respondents thinks it is very important to have proper ways of managing time at home during this outbreak of COVID-19, and the most importantly, obeying the social distancing information, as they consider is as the most important part. So moving on to my next point, what are the sources relied upon for the students to obtain about the COVID-19 information? So as we can see from the graph above, social media accounts of official news media are the most significant sources to be relied on to obtain COVID-19 information, and print newspapers are the least significant sources among the students. I would say me too, because I think like social media accounts of news are is the most used apps by me, the used tools by me, like, and I don't actually read the newspapers. I often check the news, the updates about COVID-19 on my Instagram, on the Twitter of the KKM's accounts. So so this graph, this survey results really proves that students are relying on the social media to obtain the news. So moving on to my next points about what are the obstacles for the students for seeking the COVID-19 information. So all of the respondents strongly agree that the spread of rumors is the biggest obstacle for seeking COVID-19 information, and the majority of them strongly agree that the spread of rumors is also one of the biggest obstacles among other obstacles above, because nowadays we can see many fake news spread. It doesn't matter on social media or on websites. So yeah, so it is one of the biggest obstacles for them. So moving on to my next point, I want to talk about how often the students have been bothered with this kind of problems. So most of the results shown in this graph are voting not at all for most problems. However, the problem of feeling nervous is getting the second most votes as they are having this problem for 1 to 2 days. Overall, the students of IIM are not often having the above problem. So as you can see, what are the problems? Feeling nervous, not being able to stop or control worrying too much about different things, trouble relaxing, being so restless, becoming easily annoyed or irritable. So these kind of problems are they are not actually experiencing it, but they feel like the problem of feeling nervous is getting like the attention from them. So maybe as for me, myself, I also feel I am feeling nervous because of this COVID-19. I'm feeling nervous about my online class, and also, you know, the fear of getting the virus. So I want to talk about my last point in this survey questions. I want to talk about how difficult for the students to take care of the things at home and get along with the people. So overall, from the pie chart, most of the respondents gave the answer that the problems brought were slightly difficult for 39.7% for them to do work, study, as well as taking care of things at home during COVID-19. Meanwhile, we actually got equal responses, which is 25.4% from the respondents that the problems made them feel very difficult, as well as extremely difficult to do everything in their life. From that, we can see that people are suffering from this pandemic. So I'm gonna pass the floor to Safia because she will be talking about the closure of our video. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now I'm going to talk about the conclusion part. So to sum up the survey, so that IUM students are aware of this pandemic is serious and its impact on the people, particularly IUM students. And we could see that the students consume the news via news website and art. Moreover, they took this issue is seriously as their personal experience, and that's the reason their news consumption has changed through. They frequently read the news during COVID-19 every day, and their understanding of the pandemic has increased day by day. Because the news has been consumed as well as it updates every day, and students have realized how dangerous it is. From that, it affected their well-being. Most of them become scared that COVID-19 may affect their relatives and friends. Other than that, some of them like to be keep informed about like COVID-19 because they could feel in control. So next, the student rely on the social media, which are the account of official health organization or social media account of official news media. They use to obtain the COVID-19 information and feel secure on it. However, most of the obstacles to seeking COVID-19 information were the spread of false information and the spread of the rumor from the problem. Unfortunately, students got anxiety disorder, which are students could be worried too much about different things. They could become easily annoyed or irritable, as well as feeling anxious almost every day. Besides that, they feel extremely difficult for them to do their work or studying, take care of things at home, and get along with other people. So this pandemic is changing everything in the world. That's after conducting this survey, we could know that IIUM students are suffering from the current situation regarding the issue of COVID-19 and its effect of their mental health as well. So they should be ready and aware of it as they prepare their personal experience. Other than that, the news of COVID-19 that its speech should be right and accurate on the time. So this period may be a big challenge for everyone. So we have to get over it together. That's all for us, and thank you so much for your listening.